Acting, they acting and we all live. Yes, sir, Bob, it's your boy, Dabrand knows. And we are live. 11:22 p.m. on a Wednesday. And y'all know my motto. If you don't know, you know now. Yeah, I feel like a rock star, baby. You already know. Let's go, let's get, let's pop. It's your boy D-Block, baby. I'm back and I'm boss. I'm off of that sauce. And I be getting money, of course, but I've never talked a loss. Check it out. Let's go. Yeah. Y'all ready? Ready? Let's go. 40 Wolves. Okay. Now that you know, I'm talking to you. Now that you know that your boy, the HG Brando knows. I'm gonna go ahead and start my show, you heard? Let's get it poppin'. Yeah, y'all know how that shit go down. It's your boy, the Brando knows. Let's get it. I'm gonna take it in right about now. Check it out. 1, 2, let's go, let's get it. Yeah, check it out. Shorty dip low. Came through fast, but I slipped slow. Got that shorty out getting in trouble. Don't worry, mommy, I'm here on the double. She moving so fast. Got that old motherfucker digging in the stand. Got that old motherfucker wearing that mask. Got that old nigga low class. Come on, shorty, you know you follow me. You know that I'm gonna follow you too. Yeah, let's get it, cause if you follow me, yeah, then I'm gonna follow you too. Yeah. Dirty dip low. Follow me, yeah. Then I will follow you too. Yeah, let's go. Cause if you follow me, yeah, then I will follow you too. Check it out, shorty dip low. Came through fast, so I slipped slow. Got that shorty up, getting in trouble. Don't worry, mommy, I'm here on a double. Shorty moving so fast. Got a little nigga digging in the stash. Got an old motherfucker wearing that mask. Got a nigga feeling low class. Come on, shorty, you know you follow me, I will follow you too. Yeah, cause if you follow me, yeah, then I will follow you too. The facts, and we gone.
Wow, this nigga say blick now? Not really, motherfucker. It just rhymes with Chris Brown. When I come around, they all gonna skip town like they owe me money or tried to Obi-Wan me. Then I went Anakin. Now they all panicking. You could be perfectly dressed, it won't make you a man again. You don't even smell the kind of shit that you standing in. Jumped out the window, don't know what you landed in. Cop blocking motherfuckers made me switch up the plan again. Okay. Guess what? Nigga, I was built for this. I was born for this. They won't admit that they watched me like some holy matrimony shit. This my anniversary, some Tony shit. Load the clip, do a spin. Grab my dick on some Michael Jackson shit. Nueve.
And we gone. Enjoy yourself. Learn something. And pay attention. Before you become the statistic that they all talking about. It's your boy Brando. And we gone, we out. Check it out. Just gonna give you the rundown. Some of these current events. You could do the slightest thing, man, and it'll freeze the whole system up. Roger that, Roger Goodell. And we gone. Brando knows everything.
It doesn't matter how small and how ridiculous. And all these black people are just had their feelings hurt so bad over what Donald Trump did. Oh my gosh, it was just the worst thing to ever happen in the world. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, we have some Republican senators jumping on this, or that jumped on this now that it's been proven to be all fake, you know, all like, not only was it a mistake, but the meme that was posted was part of a longer video that was a video of the Lion King and different animals with different politicians' heads superimposed over different animals. I mean, Joe Biden was depicted as a chimpanzee. Well, I mean, is that racist too? And there's been a lot of people pointing fingers, and this is how it always goes. Well, why isn't the left, why isn't the media pointing out what these rioters, these protesters are doing, calling ICE agents the N-word? It's happened multiple times. Not a peep from the media. Why didn't the media call out Joe Biden and condemn Joe Biden? Why wasn't there a massive uproar when Joe Biden, it came out, you know, it's a resurfaced clip. It resurfaces like every other month or so of Joe Biden saying the N-word and saying racist things. Why is there never any of this outrage from the left turned in on their own side, or from the media turned on the left? It's because it's not about any sort of principle. It's not about any sort of moral. It's about power. It will always be about power with the left. They care nothing about double standards. They care nothing about how they are perceived by the right wing. All they care about is convincing people who might not pay attention enough to what is happening in the political sphere, convincing them that they are right so that they can win this moral argument between the left and the right. And unfortunately, a lot of times the left wins this because they are absolutely shameless about how they do it. But guys, I mean, someone that I honestly am very surprised. Actually, I guess I'm not too surprised, but someone jumped on this bandwagon of condemning Donald Trump before even knowing what was happening here. And Tim Scott, man, you know, there is something happening in the Senate right now that is very, very odd. So, of course, the Senate is kind of under the gun right now because the American people want the SAVE Act to be passed. It's the most popular issue in the entire United States. The SAVE Act. Americans want voter ID in our elections. And you'll notice, I want to show you this. So Tim Scott, this is his Twitter feed. This is where politicians go to, I guess, talk about what they're doing to their constituents. This is one of the most popular platforms. So this is where, you know, politicians are going to post about what they're doing, what their concerns are, what they're seeing, and as far as things that should be done in U.S. politics. Last time Tim Scott posted was February 4th. And you'll notice if you go through his tweets, there's not a single post that I can see about the SAVE Act. But for some reason, when this story about Donald Trump and these apes started gaining steam, Tim Scott decided to jump on this bandwagon, saying, praying it was fake because it's the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. The president should remove it. Not a single peep about the SAVE Act and about voter ID, but for some reason, he found it super necessary to condemn the president of the United States over something that wasn't even his fault. And guys, literally, I think this might be a distraction away from the SAVE Act because it's an absolute meltdown. I'm going to get into Trump's response. What he said, I think his response is perfect, but it's an absolute meltdown that's going on in the media, on the left wing, and even some Republican senators condemning Donald Trump. And it's absolutely ridiculous. This thing has overtaken the news cycle after the SAVE Act took over the news cycle for, it was like almost a week, with Americans demanding change to our voting system, where at the very least we have the smallest of guardrails to ensure that people who are voting are actually American citizens. Because, guys, you can't make this up. I want you to look at this. Even Somalia, yes, you know Somalia, the fraudulent immigrant class here in the United States, even their home country has basic voter ID. And this is absolutely crazy. Check this out.
Authorities have started issuing voter ID cards across Mogadishu as the capital prepares for its first direct municipal council elections in decades under a one-person, one-vote system. Printing at the Somali Independent Election Committee headquarters operates around the clock in 2 8-hour shifts, producing an estimated 30,000 to 40,000 cards daily.
You gotta be freaking kidding me. So even Somalia, ladies and gentlemen, even Somalia has voter ID. And the best we can get is some lip service from some senators talking about voter ID and saying, oh, yeah, we definitely support it. Some of them don't even talk about it. But when Donald Trump makes a mistake, I mean, I wish it wasn't a mistake because personally I found it hilarious. But when Donald Trump tweets it was a single second of the first part of the meme video that depicted the Obama as apes, oh my God, this whole country is crashing down. And, you know, there's a reason, I believe, why these senators, these Republican senators or senators in general over there, they don't want the SAVE Act passed. It's because I think largely they don't agree with Donald Trump's agenda. I believe a lot of the senators don't, because what they're talking about doing is they're talking about ending the zombie filibuster, which is one single tiny little rule change that can be done by John Thune, the Republican leader of the Senate majority. He can make one small rule change and they can end the zombie filibuster, which the way it stands now, in order to get anything passed from the House of Representatives, because it goes to the House and it goes to the Senate. In order to get anything passed, they have to have a 60-vote majority. So you have to have 60 votes in order to pass anything in the Senate right now. So what these senators can do, these Republican senators, they can always blame it on the other side. Well, like, what can we do? What can we do? We can't pass anything. It's the Democrats' fault because they won't come over to our side. And, you know, it's starting to spotlight how ridiculous this is when we look at something as important as voter ID. Because John Thune is something this important. John Thune can make one single rule change, and this would be passed with a simple majority, 51 to 49. The Republican senators would have to vote for it. And if they didn't vote for it, they'd be exposed for the frauds that they are. And, you know, the zombie filibuster hasn't been around for that long. It's only been around for a few years. Used to, in order, if you were against a piece of legislation being passed, you would have to go up and you would have to talk for hours on end explaining why it's important that this piece of legislation not be passed. Now, it's a uniparty trick. Zombie filibuster. They vote to table it for cloture, not exactly the entire process, but the entire process involves 60 votes. And this is how the uniparty wins. This is how they are. This is the argument they're making for why they can't pass the SAVE Act. But it all rests on John Thune's shoulders. So it's very interesting how we have someone like John Thune who is refusing to do this, to make this rule change. And then after there's this big outcry, why is our Republican senators, why aren't they actually representing the will of people? All of a sudden, we get what? We get this whole just outburst over a freaking meme of the Obamas superimposed on apes. It's absolutely ridiculous. But ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is handling this pretty well. I want you to listen to his response as he walked into Air Force One. And I think this is a perfect response. You know, he is the president. He has to appeal to all people. And he was very diplomatic here. This is what he said. He did not apologize. He did not take one step back. He did say it was deleted. But, I mean, I honestly, you know, as just a American citizen, just a private individual, I'm like, okay, it's funny. I don't care if he deletes it or not. I'd prefer him kind of not delete it. But I understand why he would. But listen to his response, and I think it's great. Listen.
So, do you have any questions, John?
Mr. President, social media post that you took down earlier today, the White House says that a staffer sent it. Who sent it, and are you going to fire them?
No, I looked at it. I saw it, and I just looked at the first part. It was about voter fraud in someplace, Georgia. There was a lot of voter fraud, 2020 voter fraud, and I didn't see the whole thing. I guess toward the end of it, there was some kind of a picture that people don't like. I wouldn't like it either, but I didn't see it. I looked at the first part, and it was really about voter fraud and the machines, how crooked it is, how disgusting it is. Then I gave it to the people. Generally, they look at the whole thing, but I guess somebody didn't, and they posted, and we took it down, and we did it. You know, but that was a voter fraud that nobody talks about. They don't like to talk about that post. We took it down as soon as we found out about it.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans are calling on you to apologize for that post. Is that something you're going to do?
No, I didn't make a mistake. I mean, I look at a lot of thousands of things.
Boom.
And I looked at the beginning of it. It was fine. And they had that one post, and I guess it was a takeoff. By the way, a lot of people covered. If you look at where it came from, I guess it was a takeoff on the Lion King. And certainly it was a very strong post in terms of voter fraud. Nobody knew that was in the end. If they would have looked, they would have seen it. And probably they would have had the sense to take it down. But that was a takeoff in the Lion King. And a lot of people were covered on in different positions. So, but I spoke to Tim Scott. He was great. Tim is a great guy. He understood that 100%.
So, yes, and I love how he put that. Yeah, he was like, yeah, it was a take off the Lion King. Very artistic take off the Lion King. It was done very artistically, and it just so happened that this first part happened to depict the Obamas as apes. It's just kind of funny how he put this. It was a take off the Lion King. And believe it or not, it was actually done pretty well. I mean, it was actually pretty funny. If you look through the whole thing, you have Hillary Clinton, you have Joe Biden, of course, you have the Obamas, you have Donald Trump in this meme video. He's the lion. And, you know, it's all different kind of animals. And, you know, they like to only focus on that. And really, it shows you the thin skin of these people. And the thing you really have to realize, and I know I press on this a lot, and I remind people this all the time, this isn't about them actually having any sort of values. This isn't about them actually believing what Donald Trump was wrong. This is about them seeing a chance to take a shot at the other side and blowing it out of proportion into something it's not. That is just simply the facts of the matter. Because you see these things as an average person, you're like, what are you talking about? You know how you have if you have kids, they get offended over some little slight or something that they interpret as one way. And you look at it and you tell your kid, you tell them like, listen, just get over it. Yeah, you tell them, listen, you're going to grow up in a world where you're going to face a lot of problems. And if you are always reacting to these small things that you perceive as something, when these things could be perceived or interpreted a billion different ways, you're going to drive yourself absolutely nuts. And this is what happens with the Democrats. They are conditioning the leftists, these Democrats, people on their side, to perceive every single slight as something that is a personal attack against them. Everything that they could even concoct in any way as a slight. They are teaching their side to do this. And it's absolutely dangerous. This is why we have thousands of protesters in Minneapolis protesting ICE, because they were simply told by their leaders like Tim Walz and Jacob Frey that this is the Gestapo. And it's all a conditioning type mindset that has been coming down from the top for years and years and years. And this is what you see happening here. But Donald Trump is not having any of it. He says that he has no message to the many Americans who are offended by the video. And yeah, I mean, really, honestly, guys, why would he? I mean, the simple fact of the matter is, It doesn't matter if Donald Trump apologizes or not. These people are going to keep doubling and tripling down. It's not like you come out and you say, oh, I'm sorry if this offended you. I'm taking it down. I apologize. I shouldn't have done this. We've seen this during the height of the woke mind virus. We saw this happen where we had people, they would have tweets dug up from like years ago where they said something slightly off color or maybe slightly racist, and they come out and they grovel to the mob and they tell them how sorry they are for saying these things. And what happens after that the apology? Do people just move on? Do these woke, insane people, do they move on? Absolutely not. They keep hammering into them because it's not about anything other than power. It's about exerting power. There's no principle with it whatsoever. And this woke thing makes me absolutely furious. It's why my channel is called Unwoke Thoughts, because if there's anything that triggers me, it's the woke mind virus. But take a listen to Donald Trump, and I love this response by him, where he says he has nothing to say to these people who are offended, because why would he?
Storylines. Gotta be very
What's the message to the many Americans who were offended by the video?
I didn't know about it, so it went up. I really have no message. All I know is, here's my message, that our country has never been in a position like this. We were a laughing stock all over the world, and now we're a country that's respected more than we've ever been respected before. If you go back a year and a half ago, our country was a laughing stock, and now we're respected all over the world, like probably almost never before. I would say maybe like never before. And, it's, if you look at it from an economic standpoint, the King of Saudi Arabia said it, others said it, we were not a country that was even thought of as a country that was going to make it back. And in 1 year, we're the hottest country. We are right now the hottest country anywhere in the world. So.
Okay, good for you, Trump. Yes, I like that response. But guys, this is just, it's absolutely crazy what is going on. Even like people like Stephen A. Smith are harping on this. And usually, Stephen A. Smith, a lot of times he has some decent takes, but, all of a sudden he's like king victim over here. And it's just, guys, this is why I think this is a intentional distraction away from some of the stuff that is happening. I think one of those things is the SAVE Act. I think that's the biggest thing right now, because that is something concrete that if we get that passed, this takes a lot of power out of the hands of the Uniparty, because, we all know it. It doesn't take a genius to figure this out. It's not a conspiracy theory when you say that the only reason why our elites and our leadership, our congressmen and women, heads of industry, the only reason why they want to be demanding and scrambling to pass voter ID laws is because they want to intentionally keep voter laws vague, election laws vague, in order for them to be able to have as much control over the elections as possible, to tip the scales one way or another. That is just a simple fact. So we have this little thing happen. All of a sudden, you have everyone jump on this bandwagon, including Stephen A. Smith. Usually this guy has some decent takes on things, but I was actually surprised to see this from him. I think he might be, honestly, I think Stephen A. Smith, like I said, he says good things and he says terrible things, bad takes. And when I see something like this, I'm like, is Stephen A. Smith just simply a hired gun? Is that what he is? Stephen A. Smith is a freaking hired gun. I'm sorry. That's the only thing I can take from his super strong stance of what he is saying here. Take a listen.
Same guy is the guy in the White House using his administration to tell you he had nothing to do with a post that has his fingerprints and his smell and his stench written all over
Bro,
it.
Who cares? What are you even talking about?
One of millions of voices that's speaking against this kind of nonsense.
What? Guys, the absolute blowing out of proportion that we are seeing from this one issue is just mind-boggling. This is full woke insanity right here. And it's a tool, guys. It's a tool. Once again, I will harp on it and say it has nothing to do with these people being offended. This has everything to do with people seeing a chance to take a shot at the other side so that they can leverage these feelings of anger and about race and about, being slighted, possibly everyone, there's racial tension in this country, whether you like it or not. And this is about them trying to get their grubby little fingers, get their little wedge in that door and try to foment hatred between the different parties, between the different sides. Then, of course, you have your white guilt people that'll jump on the side of the Democrats because, no one wants to be on the side of a racist. No one wants to agree with the racist. Everyone wants to jump to condemn these things. But you got to look at it for what it is. What is it? I mean, at the very worst, it's a off-color joke. At the very worst. Even if it were that and Donald Trump intended to share it, and that's all that was part of that meme video, it was just Barack Obama superimposed on apes. At the very worst, it's an off-color joke. Nothing more. You don't have to blow it up into a huge thing. But when you realize the fact that at the end of the video, it was a screen recording, it scrolled up to the next reel, it was part of a larger video, and this was a staffer that posted it, and they are still harping on what happened, it makes it clear that this has nothing to do with truth. It has nothing to do with reality. It's all about power and trying to bend reality in a way that will help their side, and that's it. Now listen to Hakeem Jeffries here. Hakeem Jeffries, of course. Dollar Store, actually, I can't call him Dollar Store Obama anymore. Dollar Store Obama is Don Lemon, believe it or not. That's my name for Don Lemon. Hakeem Jeffries is Timu Obama, and he is, of course, playing victim, denouncing the Trump administration for this terrible thing that happened. Take a listen.
This disgusting video posted by the so-called president was done intentionally. Donald Trump and his vile, racist, and malignant behavior. This guy is an unhinged bottom feeder. President Obama and Michelle Obama are brilliant, caring, and patriotic Americans. They represent the best of this country. It's time for John Thune, Mike Johnson, and Republicans to denounce this serial fraudster who's sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue pretending to be the president of the United States.
And guys, I think probably the funniest post I saw about this, I want you to look at this. I'm serious. This guy says, I don't know who this guy is. I think this might be like a sarcastic post. He says, I am sick to my stomach, puking and pissing everywhere. My wife is crying. I was a 3X Trump voter, but now after seeing this meme, I regret it big time. This is the worst thing I have ever seen. But that is literally like the extent of what you are seeing from the left. It's just like, what are you guys even talking about? But it's being pointed out in the news on the mainstream media by some people that are actually willing to point this out. On CNN, they're pointing out the fact that, this whole mistake that was done by Donald Trump, and like I said, I don't care if it's a mistake or not, but it was a mistake. Usually the president is not going to tweet out something like this unless there is a conspiracy theory that he did this specifically to draw attention to the video so more people will view the first part about voter fraud. So that could be a possibility for sure. But it appears to be a mistake. I don't know whether it is or not. I think it's a mistake. But there's just a giant spotlight on this right now. But protesters, there's been videos of protesters calling ICE agents the N-word. I mean, multiple videos. And where is the left condemning these protesters, talking about these protesters? And the best thing that they can do is say, well, these protesters aren't the president of the United States. But the fact of the matter is we have kind of a historical perspective of this coming from the left. When it comes from the left, it's ignored. When it comes from the right, even if it's a mistake, it is spotlighted. Take a listen to this.
But I guess, does it reflect on, if you are a Trump supporter and it doesn't matter to you that he is trafficking in racist tropes, does that reflect back on you?
If you were a Menendez supporter, if you were a Menendez supporter who got convicted of bribes. In that really ugly incident we saw in Minnesota, protesters called an ICE officer the N-word.
Those protesters are not the president of the United
leftists
States.
have to own that?
That was unacceptable too. Yeah,
I don't think that leftists have to own that. I don't think that Republicans have to own.
He is the president. That's a important fact here. He is the president. Let me play with the primary.
Oh, Abby Phillips. Oh, Abby Phillips. How little you know. But this was Laura Logan. She kind of brought up the issue, or kind of the perspective of maybe this was done intentionally because Trump knew what was going to happen. Trump knew that the left was going to jump on this because they're like rabid dogs whenever they smell even just a tiny little scent of racism coming from the right, anything that you could even interpret as racism. So he did this maybe on purpose so that they could drive traffic to this video. This is what she says. Call me crazy, but that shot the end of classic information warfare. Now everyone is going to watch that voter fraud video, which is the real point. It drives traffic and captures the algorithm. Sure, there will be backlash, but what they're going to say about racism has been said a million times before. That could be a possibility. That could be a possibility. Now, Carrie Ann Levette, she's also doing some fantastic work here. So the staffer that ostensibly posted this video is not going to be fired. And this is like the best news. You know, there's actually, there was another tweet. I won't read it because I can't get to it really quickly right now, but it was by Bill O'Reilly saying that this staffer should be fired. I'm like, what kind of like jelly backbone do some of our right-wing individuals have? Like Bill O'Reilly, he's kind of like a right-wing guy, you know, and it's just like, you know, you look at this, Bill O'Reilly, you know, he's been around for a long time. He's kind of from the grand old party from like way back. He was a talk show host. It's like seeing how some of these people who have been around for a long time, who have kind of shaped the party, it's almost like you can now realize why the GOP in the United States is in the dire straits that it is, because these people have absolutely no backbone. I mean, these people are absolutely spineless. And seeing how people like Tim Scott, these neocons, Bill O'Reilly, I mean, shoot, I used to love Bill O'Reilly. I still kind of like him. He does have good takes. But people like him, Tim Scott, they're absolutely spineless. They just kind of shift wherever the wind blows. And this is the problem with our modern day GOP. It's got to stop. This is why we're in such dire straits in the country. But listen to Carrie Ann Levette talk about how she is not going to, or they are not going to, fire the staffer that posted this meme. Take a listen.
It's been issue after issue. At the same time, and I know you've been dealing with this today, but Donald Trump's Truth Social post set off a firestorm online. I only noticed it this morning because I was writing, but it was a video that he had posted portraying Michelle and Barack Obama with an ape motif, and I guess there were other politicians who were portrayed in other animal motifs as an internet meme. Tim Scott, the senator, obviously African American, said he was praying it was fake because it was the most racist thing he'd ever seen out of the White House. The president should remove it. Caroline, I know the president did remove it, deleted it, but it was up for, I think, 12 hours or something like that. How did this happen? And can you really throw a staffer under the bus for this?
Well, look, Laura, it was a meme that was posted by a staffer on the president's True Social account. It was from a Lion King video depicting, as you pointed out, different Democrats as different animals. I think Kamala Harris was depicted as a turtle in this video meme. The president did take it down. He spoke with lawmakers today.
Hillary Clinton was the warthog.
Out of respect for them, including Senator Tim Scott, the post was removed. But leave it to the leftist media, of course, to talk about this all day, rather than talk about the fact that the Dow has broken over 50,000 points for the first time in our nation's history, rather than talk about how Americans are demanding the SAVE Act. How about that? That's what I think the real issue is here. Guys, there's a lot of different things we can be talking about, but instead of we're having a national conversation about racism once again, we're kicking a dead horse once again. It's just like, no, can we? I was thinking this morning, I was like, our GOP, our Congress, just in general, they're like schizophrenic ADHD idiots. They can't focus on one thing. And it happens so much, you gotta, at some point, think to yourself, is it intentional? How about we focus on this one conversation, because the vast majority of the American voters are behind voter ID? How about we focus on that? How about we say, I don't really care that much if Donald Trump posted something that just so happened to have Obama superimposed on apes. I'm more interested in whether or not we're being represented when we vote. I'm more interested in whether or not my vote is actually matters. That's what I care about, because if it doesn't, then all of this is just pure theater, and we're just being satiated for the purposes of, I don't know, large corporations and special interests. And we just cast that ballot, and it's just a piece of paper. It's just a touch of a touchscreen, and we feel good about ourselves because we did our duty. We did our civic duty. But for some reason, they don't want us to think that our civic duty is ensuring that the process is actually legitimate, because that's all part of it. And then when we start getting too concerned about it, what happens? Well, we saw it during 2020. We saw people get banned. And then when we start demanding the SAVE Act, Voter ID, Save America Act, what happens? Oh, Donald Trump posted a video that included a 1-second piece of a meme with Obama and Michelle Obama superimposed over apes. Oh, this is the worst thing ever. Then we have Republican senators that will tweet about that and not about the SAVE Act. Are you freaking kidding me? I'm sorry. But does anyone else see an issue here? But ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today. This was a long video. I feel very passionately about this one. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. But until then, I'll see you on the next one.
Former Vice President Dick Cheney said today the Obama administration's decision to investigate CIA personnel for tactics used on terrorism suspects, and I quote, serves as a reminder why so many Americans have doubts about this administration's ability to be responsible for our nation's security. His criticism follows the release yesterday of a report on CIA actions after 9/11. Brian Ross joins us now. Brian?
Charlie, even as the vice president was criticizing the release of the CIA report, ABC News learned that some of the most shocking allegations were kept secret by the Obama administration. Of the 109 pages in the report, 36 are fully blacked out and another 30 substantially blacked out. A senior official who has read the full report says among the portions kept secret are the Inspector General's findings on the deaths of 3 detainees in Iraq and Afghanistan, the fact that the CIA could not adequately determine the whereabouts of several more missing detainees, and that there were fears that the waterboarding of 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed almost killed him. He was waterboarded 183 times. The top Republican on the House Intelligence Committee says he thinks more should be made public.
At this point in time, my bias would be towards transparency and towards releasing more information.
It was clear today that the partisan battle lines have now been drawn over the CIA, led on one side by the former vice president, who has long been the chief defender of the CIA's harsh interrogation techniques.
They were legal, essential, justified, successful, and the right thing to do.
It was at Cheney's request that the CIA made public yesterday 2 top-secret reports that said the detainee interrogations were pivotal. Detainees have given us a wealth of useful information on al-Qaeda, the report says, thwarting a number of al-Qaeda operations, including a proposed 9/11-style attack on Los Angeles, on London's Heathrow Airport, and the capture of a leading Southeast Asia al-Qaeda leader named Hambali, who reportedly had 70 operatives ready to carry out terrorist attacks in the West. Nowhere in the reports, however, does the CIA ever draw a direct connection between the valuable information and the specific use of the harsh tactics. So, Charlie, there's just enough for both sides to argue about, while CIA officers in the field are left to figure out just what is expected of them.
Our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross.
Now, before I show you Bill Maher going completely nuclear on the Democrats, let me ask you something real quick. Why is it that every year, like clockwork, Hollywood elites turn award shows into political rallies and then act shocked when normal Americans call out the hypocrisy?
So Billie Eilish, she gets an award for like dipshit of the decade. I mean, I don't know. So she's up there getting the award. Here's what she said. These celebs, they kill me.
No one is illegal on stolen land. Yeah, it's just really hard to know what to say and what to do right now. And I feel really hopeful in this room, and I feel like we just need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting. And
nobody's illegal on stolen land. I'm not even sure I should do right now. I got a recommendation for you. How about you shut the fuck up? Just say, Hey, Bill, do you go by Bill? I don't really care. Okay. Bill, I got an idea. You're probably worth, I don't know, 10 million, 20 million. Take about 10 milli, go buy up a bunch of like lots, and then return them to the people you think they were stolen from. Well, I don't know who there's. Of course you don't. There is no such thing as stolen land. There is land people live on, and there's land people don't live on. Okay? This stolen land bullshit in the United States. Give it back. Okay, this is a lifetime update. The Tongva tribe reacts to Bill. As the first people of Greater Los Angeles Basin, we do understand our home is situated in our ancestral land. Eilish has not contacted our tribe directly regarding her property. We will follow up today. Yes, I love you, the member of the Tongva tribe. You guys are heroes.
Now, this right here is the blueprint. You got a multimillionaire celebrity standing on stage in front of the wealthiest room in entertainment, telling everyday Americans how immigration policy should work. Mind you, this is all the while living in a gated, luxury, protected community, by private security. I don't know if it's in a protected community. I should have just said protected security, but I want you to notice something. No nuance, with no policy discussion, no trade-off, just slogans from that award show. Because that's what Hollywood activism usually is, performance. It's always performative. It's never solution-based, right? But backlash didn't stay on local media. Nope. It did not. It made it all breathing room.
And finally, new rule memo to Democrats. If you ever want to win an election again, the absolute most important first step is stop doing this.
We gather in celebration of the Oscars on the ancestral lands of the Tongva, Tataviam, and Chumash peoples, the traditional caretakers of this water and land.
This is where he's about to start snapping, so prepare yourself.
Yeah, I don't know if we're still saying cringe. But if we are, that's this. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Either give the land back or shut the up. Look, I understand the desire to right the wrongs of the past, especially when you get to take the moral high ground and then build an 8,000 square foot mansion on it. And I'm sure Julianne Hough is sincere about her love for the Chumash people, but I doubt she drives to work in a canoe, scavenges for acorns, or lives in a dome house made of reeds and dried mud. That's Woody Harrelson.
This post comes with the caption, Mar nails Hollywood hypocrisy again. Billie Eilish at the Grammys. No one is illegal on stolen land. F ICE. Meanwhile, a multi-million-dollar LA mansion sits on Tongva territory. Bill Maher's timeless roast. Give it back or shut the up. Spot on then. Spot on now. Hypocrite or just performative? What do you think? Should celebs put their money where their mouth is where this comes with. And here's why Bill Maher resonated here. He's not coming from it as a politician. He's coming at it from the hypocrisy angle. You can't stand on a stage talking about stolen land while sitting on multi-million-dollar property built on the exact thing you're condemning. That contradiction is what drives people who QQ for Cocoa Puffs. And once that contradiction starts getting called out, the narrative starts unraveling pretty fast. I'm for real. Like really fast, y'all. Which brings us to the response from the administration.
I'm sorry?
On the statements of Bad Bunny saying ICE out.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's very ironic and frankly sad to see celebrities who live in gated communities with private security, with millions of dollars to spend protecting themselves, trying to just demonize, law enforcement, public servants who work for the United States government to enforce our nation's laws. And you didn't hear this same type of uproar from celebrities in Hollywood when the previous administration allowed an invasion of our nation's borders and allowed innocent women and girls like Jocelyn Nungaray and Laken Riley to be killed and raped and murdered at the hands of people who should have never been in our country in the first place. And now you have law enforcement who are simply trying to do their jobs to remove violent predators like those who took the lives of innocent Americans. There was no uproar from Hollywood and the elitist crowd at the Grammys then, but there is now, and I think that speaks to the unfortunate irony that we're seeing in Hollywood today.
Now, this is where the conversation shifts from celebrity theater to real-world consequences, because while Hollywood debates optics, law enforcement deals with outcomes. And that right there is the clear disconnect. One side speaks in symbolism, the other side speaks in responsibility. That divide didn't stop backstage at the Grammys either. I just want y'all to know that. Because what looked spontaneous to viewers started to look a lot more like, look a lot more coordinated when people dug deeper.
All right, we've got an interesting guest on this. Sports journalist and media personality Emily Austin got to take in this dumpster fire live right there in the room. Take a listen to this.
I'm so edgy. It's guys. Oh my god. Standing ovation for Ice Out. I'm gonna sit down. You should all be ashamed of yourself. We love America. I love our law enforcement.
Emily joins us now to talk about it. All right, so bring us into the room last night. What's it like to sit through something like that?
Personally, I love music. You know, I'm your typical Gen Zer with more brain cells than most people in my generation. So I just wanted to have a great time. And unfortunately, I could have anticipated people like Billie Eilish speaking up with the Ice Out pins. But I'll tell you something nobody's talking about. On my way to the red carpet, there were folks at the Grammys handing out Ice Out pins. Now, if you remember, Haley and Justin walked the red carpet wearing Ice Out. Yeah. And I thought to myself, that's bizarre, because they don't pretend to be educated on matters, and I don't think anyone instructed them to do this. Why would they do such a thing? And then to nobody's surprise, I find out that there was a coordinated effort in spreading this agenda throughout the event. So fortunately, most celebrities remained silent on the matter, but the few who did use the opportunity on stage to call for ICE being out have to be the biggest hypocrites in the game, because each and every single one of these people walked into the arena with 15-foot barricades and security, their own private hired security, living in multi-million-dollar mansions with gates. That doesn't sound like an open border to me. No. And then Miss Billie Eilish, who said no one is illegal on stolen land, has a restraining order for a gentleman who broke into her home. But you stole that land, so why not give it to this gentleman who broke in?
It doesn't make a lot of... I thought the same thing about Bieber and his girlfriend, because the girlfriend is the daughter of Stephen Baldwin, who's actually a friend of this network. I mean, he's a very conservative dad, is Haley Bieber's father. And but you know, in that moment, they're going to give you that pin. And I think for a lot of people, it's like, you're going to put this on. And if you don't, you're going to go on our little list. And you don't want to be on that list, because you might not get invited back. You might find yourself being removed from that little bubble that they've created there. And I think that's how they get everybody in there just clapping like seals, because you'd be terrified to go against the regime in Hollywood.
The regime is a great way to put it. Unfortunately, you just nailed it. Everyone in that room, they're sheep, and sheep follow more sheep. And there's no alpha there to really just take an initiative and say, you know what, I'm sorry, this is wrong. I can't tell you that one person who speaks about ICE from Hollywood actually has a single clue of what they're talking about. And if anything, to be completely honest with you, if I knew someone in there had some sort of a backbone and actually meant what they said, you know what? Difference of opinion. I know how to agree to disagree. But everyone in there was one sheep just following another. They were doing what they thought was cool at the time, because if they really cared about morals, they would have spoke about Iran. But you didn't see any of those women on stage speaking about the tens of thousands being killed because it didn't fit the agenda, and they weren't handing out free Iran pins.
Yeah, and because they'd be terrified to ever criticize Islam, because
Islamic people are not white, and so they're victims. And so you can't criticize anything they do, even when it's an atrocity against their own people. You can't touch that. But you sure as hell can touch standard immigration enforcement in this country. Emily, thanks so much. And it was wild to see you got in that thing. We appreciate you coming on, though. Good to see you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, actor Kevin.
Now
everybody's reporting the same stories, the same.
Now we're getting production level politics. Pins distributed inside one of the most security locked events on the planet. I mean, what? And we supposed to believe that it just happened? Come on, y'all. Smarter than that. Nothing enters those venues accidentally. I mean, maybe Snoop Dogg and some weed, but he knew somebody to get that in there. But anyhow, nothing into those venues accidentally. Nothing circulates without approval. That's not grassroots at all. That's quite literally orchestration, which is the word, or orchestrated, which was the word that I wanted y'all to put in the last video. But yeah, when you lay that with the speeches, the messaging, the all the visuals, it starts looking less like activism and more like branding. Seriously, and that's exactly why critics start zeroing in on it.
I arrive in my retrofit dress. I'm feeling good. Have this clutch that went super viral. Now, what I did not realize was when you walk into the Grammys yesterday, there are people handing out Ice Out pins. You all probably saw Justin and Haley on the red carpet wearing Ice Out. I don't think that was part of their glam plan. I don't think any stylist was like, hey, you should wear this. And I don't think Haley and Justin thought of it themselves. I don't think they're that creative. How about that? But they ended up wearing that, and it broke all these headlines, and everyone wore it. But why? Why? This person was not a bystander handing out Ice Out pins. If you saw the amount of police, why do you have police? I thought that's law enforcement, and apparently y'all don't respect them. Barricades 15 feet tall, police cars, police officers, machine guns, agents patrolling the crypto arena to make sure that the celebrities that are inside that arena are kept protected and safe. Those are the people that everyone on stage is berating.
And this is the part Hollywood does not like people thinking about. Because once you expose the staging, the illusion cracks. It's gone. It stops looking rebellious. It stops looking authentic. It starts looking like a scripted moment designed for applause with zero personal cost attached. Meanwhile, the same celebrities opposing enforcement still hire enforcement privately. Man, that's the hypocrisy theme again right there. And if it keeps resurfacing, you know, which is why many of voices started pushing back hard.
The people say, oh, you got to respect their opinion. Now, I do respect their opinion, but I don't value their opinion because their opinion is not informed. If I want to hear a great song, I listen to Lady Gaga. If I want to hear about immigration policy, I listen to Stephen Miller, who also has a great voice. What else can Miller do?
But hey, we might find out. Harold Ford.
The people say, oh, you got
Jesse, man. Now, this clip works because it taps into something most viewers already feel. Expertise matters. Being talented doesn't automatically equal being informed. That skepticism is growing pretty fast, especially when policy discussions get reduced to stage slogans. So the final pushback, it came with zero softness.
Do you think Billie Eilish is going to allow any trespassing on the stolen land that she owns on the coast of the Pacific?
I just keep thinking about what her publicist and everyone is saying after this, because the second she said it, it was a beauty to watch Twitter light up. And I'm also glad that you brought up what happened in Martha's Vineyard. I looked up that video today, Jesse. See, great minds think alike. Because I'm like, remember when they stood there and they were so angry about what Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott were doing from Florida and Texas and sending them their way? And then they sat there and said, adios. Good luck. Like, none of these people actually mean what they say. So is Billie Eilish going to follow through and welcome them on to that stolen land, 14 million? Will her security guard allow them to come on her property? I'm sure she would tell her security guard to lay low, let them in. Give me a break.
Do you think Billie Eilish is going to...
Now, this is where the argument lands. Because at the end of the day, people aren't reacting to celebrities having opinions. They're reacting to the double standard. Lecture the public while living insulated from the consequences of those lectures. That's what keeps triggering backlash right there. That's what keeps driving cultural division right now in America. And that's exactly why moments like Mars goes viral. These Democrats want millions of us out here under this spell of rhetoric. Hollywood can keep performing, but Americans, we're getting pretty good at spotting the scripts. So if you made it to the end of this video, I want you to write unfiltered. Yes, write unfiltered, man, because that's all we're trying to do is bring the unfiltered truth here. While they over there adding on their filters and effects. Y'all be safe. Go check on a friend today. You can quite literally be saving his life. I'm over here planning some last minute stuff for my son's 16th birthday. I appreciate the comments, y'all. Happy birthday, Steven, and telling, saying all that your dad is all this type. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. It's pretty cool. I can't wait to show him that. Like, yeah, son, look. What your daddy doing on the internet? I am somebody. My sons, my kids, they don't care nothing about none of it, which I love, but anywho, let me stop talking. I'm talking y'all ears out. Be safe. Go check on somebody today. You could be saving a life. Okay. Pay. Okay, so today we've got Mike Tyson, everyday Americans, black conservatives, and even people who ain't fully picked sides yet, all saying the same thing that completely wrecks the story that we've been fed for years. And the left, their reaction is exactly how you'd expect. Let's start.
But listen, my whole experience with President Trump is that he's just a genuine, real person. If he got your back, he's with you 100%.
Yeah, he's a loyal guy. That's
my experience with him. Yeah. That's why I'm for him 100% because he's never been nothing but for me.
He's one of the most loyal guys you'll ever meet. Are you?
But listen,
huge shout out to Mike Tyson because he's backed Donald Trump at every phase of his presidency, man, maintaining that same stance. This right here is what drives the Democrats crazy. It's not just what Tyson said, it's who said it. You can't paint Mike Tyson as some political puppet. He's a cultural icon, global name, built-in credibility. And notice what he talked about. Loyalty, character, personal experiences. That cuts through the media talking points. I mean, slice it. Because the left, they don't want people evaluating leadership based on lived experiences. They want approved opinions delivered through approved outlets. The moment someone outside the system says something different, smear mode activates. And this isn't isolated. It connects directly to something bigger happening right now.
You see, folks, Donald Trump has now ruptured and took a wrecking ball to the global order. That global order with the globalists has been demolished. But what's interesting is that the move that Canada, Mark Carney, is making when he announced the New World Order, when he negotiated with China. Macron from France is now stating that he would like to build bridges and be invited to the BRICS nation summit. So we have some interesting things that's occurring. But as you can see, folks, we've been the pawns in the game of the globalists. And a lot of people are missing the fact that the globalist has been running the world and not really paying attention. So these people like China, who we claim to be our enemies, a threat, Russia being a threat, they claim, It's amazing how France and Canada, all of a sudden, China is not so much of a threat, or Russia. But Russia, I don't think they're a threat like what it was before when it was the Soviet Union. But notice how these elites, these world leaders who are led and ran by the globalists, changed their position real quick to cozy up to China and want to now align themselves with BRICS, who is trying to destabilize the dollar and go to a different currency than the dollar. So it's going to be interesting. But keep your eyes out. Keep watching and looking. But I trust my president, Donald Trump, who's protecting America. That's the real, folks. You don't got to agree. That's just my opinion. But I trust my president. And I believe that what he's doing is in the best interest of America. But I think so many people have the Trump derangement syndrome. They can't see the good that he's doing for the American worker. He's about to he's putting a cap on these credit card companies, 10%, for at least a year. That'll give us opportunity to get out of some of the debt that we're in. Being charged high interest rate from these credit card companies. He's about to ban these corporations from buying up homes. That'll give Americans an opportunity to own a home and not be in competition with these corporations who buying all these houses out for people to rent. So he's doing a lot of good things, folks. So look at it for what it is. The facts of what you can see. Y'all enjoy your day. Peace and love.
I know that's right. Now,
see, folks, Donald Trump.
Let's go ahead and zoom out real quick, because while media outlets argue narratives, policy and global positioning are actually shifting. Housing market protection, credit pressure relief, international power balance changes. You don't have to agree with every single point there. That's not the takeaway. The takeaway is this. People are talking policy again instead of slogans. And that's dangerous for narrative politics, because narrative politics depend on emotional labeling, not citizens comparing results. When people start asking, who benefits? Who gets relief? Who gains leverage from this? That's when the conversation stops being controllable. And when that happens, you start seeing tension explode at the local level.
My name is John McCauley. I'm with a grassroots organization called Flip Philly Red. We're here to give something different to Philadelphia, something that y'all are not used to because you've been voting Democrat for the mayor's office for the past 70 years. It's not MAGA who's doing all of the carjacking and the shootings. When we talk about ICE, when 78 million people, 7 swing states, including Pennsylvania, we voted for this. We voted for this. We gave a mandate. So I want to sit here and tell U.S. Senator John Fetterman, U.S. Senator Dave McCormick, to vote yes and support H.R. 7147. I sit here in disgust as I watch Kendra Brooks, Jamie Gunthier hold up pictures of a domestic terrorist, Renee Good. I'd never seen her put up a picture of Dakara Thompson, a 19-year-old who was raped and murdered by an illegal alien and thrown over a bridge. I never seen her put up a picture of Lincoln Riley, who was raped and murdered. I never seen her put up a picture of Larisha Thompson, a mother. I named 2 black women, by the way. And y'all sit here and pander to white liberal women like Renee Good.
Could you speak on the resolution?
I'm speaking on all of it. It's my first Amendment right. I'm gonna speak. It all goes hand in hand.
Just make
because
sure
we
you speak
funded
on
to
the
deport
resolution.
20. We wanted a fund. We want a fund to deport 20 million illegal aliens that was imported in here by the Biden and Harris administration with the help of the cartels. So won't y'all stand up for Americans for once? Because America comes first.
And here's the part they really hate. You have a citizen speaking emotionally, bluntly, passionately, and instead of engagement, microphone cut. Now, look, regardless of where you land politically, this is exactly why people distrust institutions, because, selective amplification is obvious. They pick and choose. Some voices get protection. Some voices get promotion. And a lot of voices get silenced. And when people see that pattern, it radicalizes them further. The left, that is. That's not unity. That's narrative gatekeeping. And it's fueling a much larger cultural shift, especially around identity politics right now. It's something to see, y'all.
Y'all can miss me with all that whining and crying and shit. I've never been a monkey. I'll never be a monkey. Never have been a monkey. Doesn't take away my integrity. Doesn't take away my skin color. Doesn't take away my ambition. Doesn't take away my confidence as a black woman. I can't relate. It does not bother me. What did Trump do that's wrong? I don't think he did anything that's wrong. His staff members, whoever, what? The Democratic Party isn't a bunch of wild animals? I see them as wild animals. And you got the lion in there taming all these motherfuckers. That's how I see it. But, I'm pretty sure the Democrats can relate because that's all they do is thrive off of the racist tropes. That's their whole party, is thriving off of racist tropes. Y'all are real sensitive. For real. Maybe I'm just, I don't see forever.
Now, this is where the script completely breaks. Yeah, because the entire modern political machine runs on demographic predictability. Vote blocks, identity alignment, group loyalty expectations, if you will. When individuals reject victim framing, that model completely collapses. And what happens next? They get attacked, we get labeled, dismissed, delegitimized practically. Not debated ever, because debate risks exposure for them. And she's not the only one saying this either.
I'm a black woman in America with conservative views, and somehow that offends more people than actual racism. The moment I don't agree, I'm no longer independent or strong, I'm a... Funny how respect disappears when I don't vote or think the way I'm expected to. Here's the part they hate the most. My identity does not belong to a political party. My skin color isn't a contract, and my mind is not up for group ownership.
Come on.
You don't have to agree with me, but you will respect my right to think for myself.
Ooh. Short, direct, but powerful. This is something people experience quietly all the time. Respect that disappears the moment independent thinking decides to show up. That's nowhere near democracy as they claim it, even though, constitutional republic. That's ideological compliance testing. And when people fail the test, they're treated like defectors. Which leads us directly into this very next moment, where narrative accusations meet real world outcomes.
President Trump, I just want to thank you for being a man of your word and bringing me home to my family. 3 months without my 2-year-old has been, words can't express what it's been for me. And just watching you sign my pardon and get me free, I'm just so grateful, and you're just a hero, and you literally saved my life. And if Kamala had won, not only do I know I would have gotten out in like 2028, but I was nervous that she would probably try to re-indict me on something else. These people are vicious, and I know this is just the beginning. This isn't the end. This is just a start, but justice has to come. But thank you for getting the ball rolling on righteousness and justice in this nation. And so just thank you from me, my daughter Eleanor, and my husband.
I thank you as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you. We thank you.
God bless you.
Look, you put a black family back together so they can never say you're a racist.
Never.
Take care.
I know, right?
We gotta go. Yeah, we leaving. All right.
Beautiful moment right there. Beautiful moment. This is what things get uncomfortable for the narrative defenders, though, because lived reality doesn't always align with media framing. You've got gratitude, emotion, family respect and impact. And that can complicate the simplified storylines that's been pushed for years. Politics isn't just ideology on social media, X specifically. It affects real people in tangible ways. And when those people speak, it forces observers to confront nuance, which, again, the modern outrage ecosystem hates, because nuance doesn't drive clicks. Conflict does. And speaking of conflict, let's end it here.
Why is it that you can't have a normal conversation with somebody on the left? It's like, if you don't agree with what they say, they freak the out. And it's like, everybody can agree to disagree. If y'all actually talk to me, y'all would know that I agree with some things on the left and I agree with some things on the right. And y'all immediately go to Trump, and now I'm a Trumpy, and y'all don't want to hear what I have to say, and now I'm racist, and now I want to be white, and I like all this shit, you know what I'm saying? That's why I can't talk to nobody on the left, because they can't even hear you out what you have to say. It's like, if y'all just hear people out and kind of like, you know, give your opinion, you hear their opinion, maybe y'all will agree to disagree, you know what I'm saying? But like, y'all go straight to like attacking, having such bad attitudes. It's like, we can't even have a normal, like, not even a debate, just like a normal conversation about it. Why is it that
normal conversation with the left? Oh man, this might be the most relatable clip in the entire lineup. Not even yelling, no campaigning, no preaching there, just somebody asking for a normal conversation, and somehow this is controversial in 2026, y'all. That should tell you everything about the temperature, modern discourse. And here's the reality. You don't have to agree with Tyson. You don't have to agree with conservatives, and you don't have to agree with the liberals. But if disagreement automatically triggers labeling instead of dialogue, that's not progress. We call that tribalism. And tribalism is exactly how populations stay divided while power structures stay comfortable. So I'll leave you with this. Are narratives collapsing, or are people just finally comparing stories to reality? Sound off in the comments. And if you made it to the end of this video, I want you to write America first. Yeah, we're going to try that one. Y'all be safe. Go check out somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.
After Mrs. Clinton, I've not seen anything, as the gentleman from Massachusetts said earlier, that suggests that she ought to be a part of this in any way, or has done something wrong or is complicit in this matter. And I would hope that there's some consideration, Mr. Chairman, to withdrawing at the very least that precedent. It is extraordinary, but it is unprecedented in the fact that we did not do that with Richard Nixon. We did not do that with Donald Trump. There was a subpoena, but there was never an attempt to find them in criminal contempt of the Congress or of this committee. It's an extraordinary remedy that's usually reserved for situations where a witness has clearly and willfully defied Congress after extraordinary processes have been exhausted. The majority has not demonstrated that standard so far. I do want to say also that we're in a situation where I don't think that anybody on the Republican or on the Democratic side of this committee is trying to defend former President Clinton. They're trying to find a way to make sure that we're consistent. So the reason we keep hearing the need to have Pam Bondi before this committee is that we're getting ready to bring criminal contempt charges before there's been an investigation. Usually that happens after the investigation. And the notion that somebody was going to come before this committee, Mrs. Maxwell, and take the fifth, I don't care. She's already a convicted criminal. She can't take the fifth. But we can do the actions we ought to be about, and that is to make sure that both of them are before this committee, and then to make sure also, or to suggest, it's up to you and the ranking member, that that meeting takes place and those transcripts are made available, and that Mr. Clinton comes before the committee with counsel so that we then are in a position to move forward. We're taking a big jump here without doing some of the things that we normally do. Now, I'm glad that Ms. Tlaib brought up the matter of victims. She's not here right now, but all of us sat in that room with those victims. It was gut-wrenching, and all of us made a commitment that we would prove that this institution could and would do the right thing. So we're challenged here, Mr. Chairman, and I hope that you and the ranking member can give us a way to proceed here that both of the concerns on both sides are addressed. But if we just move straight as we're going now without an investigation, it begs the question, what happens when the shoe is on the other foot? I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Ms. Simons next. Before I recognize her, I just want to add, with respect to the Hillary Clinton subpoena, you all voted for that. This committee voted for that in a bipartisan manner. Her name was on that list. And with respect to Pam Bondi, again, she's testifying in front of Congress in less than 2 weeks. Chair recognizes Ms. Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick comment, and I have a friendly question for my colleague, Ms. Luna. And I'll say a friendly question. I've worked with victims for decades. So few opportunities present themselves for victims to sit face to face with folks who hold power, to beg and plead that everyone who had anything to do with their harm be held to account. So few opportunities. I have been a victim advocate where brilliant young women who have been trafficked across this country have stood in courtrooms and were demanded to testify against their traffickers, and they did with such power and grace in fear that their lives may be taken because of that braveness. And a number of those young women that I witnessed take all that they had to confront their demons, they were murdered because they took a stand. And so when we did stand in front and sit in front of those victims and they gave us their all, I hope that this is not the only opportunity, Mr. Chair, to speak on their behalf. From our president to everyone in those files, forget all the political games. If these women who are connected with the largest sex trafficking ring in modern day American history cannot get justice, what about the girls in every single state? I mean, it is what it is. That being said, Ms. Luna, you talked briefly about a proposal.
She's not in.
She's out.
That's Bob.
There was a proposal put on the table to rethink how we might have a conversation about the Clintons or President Clinton coming in and having a conversation with this body. And I guess that time has passed, but I know that I would love to hear from the former President of the United States. I would love to hear from the Attorney General. I would love to hear from the current President of these United States. The victims deserve to be heard. The victims deserve for the files to be released in their entirety. And the victims deserve for us to get to the bottom of this matter. I yield back. Well, I actually would like to yield my time to the ranking member.
Actually, I'm okay right now on time. I might come back around, but back to Mr. Comer and the Republicans. Thank you, Ms. Simon.
Okay. Do any other members seek recognition? Seeing none, we are going to, there's an amendment at the desk. Well, let's Ms. Lee, what purpose do you seek recognition?
I have an amendment at the desk.
Will the clerk distribute the amendment to all members? The clerk will designate the amendment.
An amendment to the amendment in nature of a substitute to the William J. Clinton contempt report as offered by Ms. Lee of Pennsylvania.
Without objection, the amendment is considered as read. I reserve a point of order. The gentlewoman is recognized for 5 minutes to explain her amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that even listening to this debate throughout our hearing today, our markup today, I think it's really clear that at the heart of this effort to release the Epstein files are very real human beings who have experienced unimaginable harm. They have been repeatedly victimized by the indifference of the U.S. government and the injustice that they face. They deserve peace and healing and justice. When my motion to subpoena the Epstein files passed, this committee resolved to get that justice for those survivors. And I thank Chairman Comer for pushing this effort forward by issuing additional subpoenas for